Welcome back to Beautiful Work, Beautiful Life. You are with Laurel Boivin and Laurel Holland, yours truly. We are both life coaches. And Laurel, I was thinking about our name today and our topic for today. Interestingly, our names are Laurel
And Laurel.
and our topic is an honest conversation about manifestation. Now, another synonym for laurel in the dictionary is honor. And I
Wow.
thought, ooh, isn't that what we like to do here, Laurel? I mean, really, we just like to have honest conversation about where we are and what inner work is all about, and sometimes the messy nitty gritty of it all so that you can have a beautiful life. Yeah.
Yeah. And it is so interesting to think about that. I always think about Laurel as a crown of
Yeah.
right
Victory.
and
Right. Yeah.
victory, right?
Yeah.
Honor, right? And it's so interesting that in the conversation about manifestation, I can't wait to hear more about is this connection that we have that you made when you reached out to me and asked me to come into this space with you. Was this one of the things that you manifested?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So let's get into this manifestation topic, which I don't know. I feel like we're like overusing the word almost in our culture right now, and we have been for a little while. And as coaches in the industry, it gets tossed around a lot. And so I feel like many people have the misguided idea that it should be simple
Yes.
throughout all
Yes.
those, kind of being tossed around. Oh, do this, just affirm, say your affirmations and it'll all come true, right? And I just feel like it's so almost like insulting to us as humans and the complexity of who we are that it's just that simple, right?
Yes. But when you think about kind of the trend in the world we live in, there's a lot of areas that we are led to believe that it's easy. It will just happen, that it is simple, that everyone can be a millionaire, right?
Yeah.
Every business owner can hit seven figures.
Right.
Everyone can have the life of their dreams. Everyone can just take this little supplement and magic happens.
Right. All of a sudden,
But we
you
know
feel great.
that's not really true.
Yeah. Yeah. Because again, I want to come back to, let's just start with manifestation is a layered activity. It is a complex layered activity, as are we as humans. And so to begin with, like, let yourself understand that that's the truth of it so that you don't convince yourself if you're not making it happen right away, you're not doing it right, or there's something wrong with you, or X, Y, and Z, right? Just come back to, what's missing here that I'm not able to bring forth that which I want. So let's just talk about what manifestation is, right?
Yes, please.
I mean, to me, manifestation if you look it up in the dictionary, it's a display or a demonstration. It's something that is clear to your senses, right? And so this idea of manifesting our dreams or our vision or our goals or our desires is simply the idea of, this is an idea that we have in our mind, a vision, a thought, a desire, and we are now bringing it forth to demonstrate that it can be an actual experience or reality here in earthly form.
That is such a great explanation, right? When I think, and I don't know the first time I heard this, but it's a saying like a thought is two things, or it happens twice, as a thought and then as a thing,
Yeah, exactly.
right?
Yeah.
And so putting manifestation in that, it's a thought first, and then it is a thing
Yeah.
that that we're demonstrating can be real or is real in this 3D world we live in.
Yeah.
It's not just a thought.
Yeah. And I think, when we think about our spiritual evolution and we think about where we are right now, any of us, right? And we think about like the big high spiritual teachers, right? Like Jesus or Buddha or Mother Mary or Mother Teresa, right? Some of these people that had such a clarity in them and such a clear belief about the possibility of what they believed in that they were the stories are that they were immediately able to bring forth that which they desired. And that's because their inner life was so clear. It was in complete alignment. What they wanted, what their vision was, what they wanted to bring forth was so clear to them that every step they took was in alignment with that, right? And that's part of the tricky part for us as lesser evolved human beings, right? We have to figure out
Yes.
what's in there that might not be in alignment with that which we want or say we want,
Yes.
you know?
And I think it's really important to remember, as you point out, that clarity needs to come first,
Yes.
right? Clarity needs to be there almost as the soil in which manifestation can grow.
Good. Beautiful. Oh, wait a minute. That sounds like a quote. Let's quote Laurel Boivin, everybody. Clarity is the soil from which manifestation can grow. Yeah, I feel like that's a legit theory, working theory about what we've got going on here. That's great. That's great.
Well, and it's so interesting because to me, as I'm kind of, speaking this out loud, that we wrapped up last month with the podcast conversation about uncertainty, variety, and clarity.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Because when we don't have clarity, how can, as you say, be clear? Do we have clarity on what we want in our life, the vision we hold, right? How can it happen if we're not clear? And I think about this a lot, and I coach a lot about this to clients about sending the universe mixed messages.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
And we do it verbally and we do it non-verbally. Even when resistance shows up from me, I know if I act on that resistance, I'm sending the universe a mixed message.
Right. Right.
Like I don't know what I want.
Right. Right.
And there are things I want to manifest that I want to be crystal clear with the universe of the vision I have for my life.
Yeah. And I think that just as you say, right, our work is being able to observe enough to be able to call ourselves out on saying, and what I'm doing really in alignment with that thing that I say that I want or the things that I say I really believe.
Yes.
And so this idea of self-observation, I'm always such a big proponent of meditation and sitting still and reflecting because it is such a rich, opportune time to be able to look at self and say, what did I do today? And what did that have to do with these things that I say I want to bring forth in the world, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and the more we look at that and the more we observe it, the more we're able to start to, first of all, get our actions more in alignment, but then also be able to see what might be keeping our actions where they are. What are the deeper, more underlying fears or beliefs that we're acting on rather than acting on these things that we say we really want or want to do in the world? Yeah.
Yes. I think that we can gain clarity of what's getting in our way,
Yeah.
by looking at ourselves
Yeah. Yeah.
and noticing. Yeah.
And I think this is like kind of almost a moment in time, for anybody that's listening to us in this podcast and thinking about what you want and your ability, to bring it forth in the world. I would say, this is a moment in time when there's such great opportunity to begin to shed that old conditioning and allow yourself to really say, do I believe? So when we spoke with Cass, right? And I had that great interview with her earlier this month, and it was like, wow, do you really believe in the field of infinite possibility? I mean, that's a big belief. That's no small belief.
It's a huge belief.
I know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to be able to just say, oh, I maybe you don't yet, but you want to believe in it. Maybe you want to start gathering some proof that anything is possible, right? I mean, this is the
Yes.
beauty of being a human. It's like, this is your own personal experiment, your life. Time to start
Yes.
taking care of the data. Look at it, do your research. Yeah.
And it's interesting because one of the things I see often, whether it's with myself or with my clients, but there's a two-step believing in infinite possibility and believing in infinite possibility for yourself, that you are part of the infinite possibility.
Yeah.
And I say that because a lot of people believe in infinite possibility, and they believe in magic and miracles and great inventions. And, I just think, those people that believed that man could go to the moon long before man went to the moon, right? And so, but believing that you can be a part of the infinite possibility is really important.
Yeah.
That it's not just something that happens for other people.
Yes, yes. And let's give some like concrete examples so that we can kind of put this in a context that hopefully people can look at and examine for themselves, right? So I'll give a couple of examples in my own personal life of things along the way that I said I wanted and I was going to manifest, right? So one was at some point, maybe 10 years ago, some in that range, 10, 15 years ago, I said, oh, I want to do a TED Talk. I really want to do a TED Talk because I feel like I have these, ideas that I really want to share and get out into the world and blah, 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 blah. And I still haven't done it, right? And so when I look back, right, when I have looked back and thought, why haven't I done that? I thought, well, you know what? It's just not been a priority, right? And it's not that I wouldn't probably have fun doing it. It could be fun for me to do, right? It's just I've been doing other things that turned out to be more fun or took a higher priority for me. And it's not that I can't manifest a TED Talk. I believe in my heart of hearts, if I want to manifest a TED Talk, I can manifest a TED Talk, right? It's just I have to really align my life and my daily actions in order to make that happen. So it's this combination of clarity, like within, right? Holding that vision, that dream, really holding it, and then actually taking those steps to bring it forth.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to talk more about the doing
Yeah.
to bring it forth, because again, I think that the belief or the misconception of manifestation is things just happen.
Right.
That you envision it, you see it, you desire it, and then next thing you know, it's delivered to you.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
But I love the thought that things that you might have envisioned one day or held a vision for are no longer in alignment with your vision for you present or future,
Yes.
right? Because I think our vision is often a vision for the future.
Mm-hmm.
And how then, the present is the future, right? Mm-hmm. We're in the present, which is our envisioned, or was once our envisioned future, and that something no longer fits.
Yeah.
And I just this weekend, my husband and I were talking about he's going through. He would really like a fast car.
Yeah.
No, he drives a big truck. So a fast, sporty car is very, very different than anything he's ever driven. So, and we were talking about, I had decades where I had this vision, what I wanted with all of my heart, was a 2-seater Mercedes convertible. I wanted this so long that even my daughter, who is now 36, said to me one day, "But Mama, where will the car seats go?" She was still in a car seat and she couldn't figure out if that's the car I wanted, where
Where
she
am
and her
I going to
sister were going to
sit?
sit. But as I was talking about this with my husband this weekend, I said, but I no longer, that's not part of my vision. It's not what what I'm manifesting now. I've let go of that. And in much to what you're saying, your TED Talk, like we can, bring things in alignment that are no longer or something that we once held,
Yeah.
that we wanted in our life no longer fits into our life and it's not in alignment with who we are today.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And to almost allow like, what you're called to more strongly, right? So for instance, I guess what I would say about the TED Talk is, I don't know, I guess I decided to do a podcast instead. That was another thing that I really wanted to do. And the podcast thing actually happened. And I did all the like little steps along the way that got me there pretty quickly once I decided I want to do it and I'm ready to do it now, right?
Yes.
And and you,
Me,
thankfully,
I don't need a two-seater convertible summer car because I can walk the beach barefoot and never get in the car all summer if I choose.
oh yeah, I love
Right?
that.
This is what I've manifested now. This
Yeah.
is what I want now. I want to be able to live in a summer state of mind, regardless of what car I drive.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And so one of the things, so this is a great point, right? Is what is the uh, vision, right? The desired goal. What is that ultimately demonstrating about you and who you see yourself as and how you want to feel? Right.
Yeah.
So kind of like, that idea of I just want to feel like I'm living in a summertime, experience, free and easy and
Unbound.
uncapped, unbound, right? And a convertible, the idea of being in a convertible makes me feel that way, right? And yet so does walking on the beach. And here I am walking on the beach. So I guess I got it?
Yes. And
Yeah,
I think that that's really important, right?
it is.
It's
Yeah.
bringing up the feeling,
Hmm.
right? Because it often, at least in my experience, it's not just the vision that you have for your life that drives the manifestation. It's the energy. It's the energetic feeling, the sensation, the feelings and even maybe the emotions of what's kind of in behind what you want for yourself.
Yeah, 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 and also in the context of your whole life, right? Your whole life experience. I think that oftentimes when we think about manifesting something, and especially today, right? The simplicity of it is again it minimizes like we're a whole person with a whole bunch of needs and wants and desires. And so if we just get very singular and say, I just want this, are we excluding so many other parts of ourselves that now we can't kind of almost come forth fully into the experience because all the other things might now be out of order or because we haven't attended to them or we're not honoring what else is there that needs to be taken care of as well. So I think this kind of whole life manifestation, living into your dreams and living into what you want is kind of like let's reel it all back and kind of start with the basics, right? And I love when Cass talked about kind of the beginning, right, of her manifestation of her dreams. The beginning was really about how she saw herself, right? She saw herself wanting to be full of joy and light for the world. Well, that's kind of an unbounded desire, right? That can take place in so many different ways. She could be doing 10 million different other things, right? And still be being a joy and a light in the
Yes.
world. So it's kind of like, wow, if you can almost get down to that essence of what you want, think of all the opportunity that there is to create that which you desire, so to speak. And it's not just a singular, I have to make $1 million kind of thing, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
And I think what I'm hearing you say is understanding I'm going to say characteristics. You said essence, right?
Yeah.
Of what it is you want. What is it? What does what you want represent? Right?
Yeah.
So more light.
Yeah.
When she thinks about more joy and light, as you said, there's many ways
Yeah.
that more joy and light could be manifested in a lifetime.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And it just reminds me of, that the same with, a summer car, the freedom, the flexibility, the lightness,
Yeah.
that joy.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's a really good reminder that it's not the physical, tangible thing when we're trying to manifest something. It's the essence of what it is that we're manifesting.
Yeah. And what we think is going to bring us satisfaction, happiness,
Yes.
fulfillment, contentment, all the things, right?
Yes. Yes.
Because, so many of us, and this came up as well in the conversation, was this idea of we're conditioned to think we're supposed to want this, right? X, Y, and Z based on where we went to school, who our family was, where we might have gone to church, what we, like these grooming environments where we were told, this is a great way to be an adult. This is a great way to live your life. This is a great, and do we really believe all those things? And what is it? Who are we beyond all that conditioned way of thinking? And how can we loosen up around all of that as we become into adulthood so that we can explore, what is it that I really am called to do here? What is it that I really feel strongly about? I really want, in my heart of hearts, not just in what I think is the right thing. Yeah. Those can be two different things.
Yes. And it reminds me of how often we think when this, when that, when the circumstance changes, then I will have the possibility I'm looking for. Whereas bringing it back to the infinite possibilities, right, by having less of a hold or less of a specific
Yeah.
resolution, we do open ourselves up to infinite possibilities.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's talk about doing the action.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I know for me, I've always felt like, in the trajectory of my life, my development, my career development, my life development, it was the idea of really having the clarity, coming back to clarity, right? Of some sense of what I wanted without without worrying about the specifics, right? And yet taking action to go forth in that way. So one of the complicated, and we'll talk about this one because this is one of the most complicated ones, I think, in this day and age that people seem to think can be easy, and that is finding a spiritual partner or a romantic partner that you feel like I've been waiting my whole life to meet this person, right? This is a big deal, And we, again, want to make it simple or just say, make a list of all the characteristics you want, get yourself clear about it all, make sure you read them every day, and suddenly they're going to show up. It's like, well, I don't know about you. It didn't happen for me that way, Laurel.
Not at all.
Yeah.
And
But what I will say is there was a point where I decided I really do want to find out about having a really healthy, loving, rich, romantic relationship in this life that I feel deeply committed to, right? That I wanted that and I knew I wanted that. And so my beginning of manifesting that, right, for me was owning that first inside myself, right? And believing that it was possible, right? And so after you've been divorced, that's not always an easy belief to hold anymore, is it, Laurel? Having
no,
gone down
not
that
at
path,
all.
you've been there, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you go, oh, is there somebody for me in that way, or isn't there? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, the beginning is that, and then uh, doing my own inner work so that if this person happened to walk by, I might recognize them as somebody that was good for me, right? Yeah, and that's, being ready to have a really rich, depending on what you want in your relationship. I wanted a lot. Like I wanted a really deep connection. I wanted honesty. I wanted somebody who's going to do their own side of their work, I'll do my work, you do your work. I want to have this connection that like really we're deeply committed. That is requires a lot of inner work to get there, right?
It
And to
really
have that.
does.
Yeah.
It really does. And the clarity, I want to go back, like the example that was coming up for me as you were talking was about in my career,
Mm,
right? When I knew I was not going to, I no longer could stay home with children after I was home for 3 years. But I knew I needed to go back to work for financial reasons. And it was I had real clarity. If I was going to leave my children to go to work, I was going to make as much money as possible. That was my clarity,
yeah.
right? That didn't happen for a long, 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 long time. But what happened along the way was I got clear about all the other things that I needed. If I was leaving my children, I needed I needed an open, transparent workplace. I needed to be respected. I needed to be surrounded by people who were also respectful of themselves and others, right? So the clarity comes, through kind of the experience that you're living.
Yeah.
And then when you have that clarity, and this is an area I've been coaching on a lot. I have a couple clients right now who are they have visions of their lives that aren't in the present, right? They have a vision of their future. And it's being open, right? Having your energy and your eyes open and your energy open so that when possibility shows up, you're ready.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And this is really interesting because I think about this, a good example right now in my life is, I would love to move to a different home. I'd like to move to a different town. And I keep watching. I look at the real estate market. I look at listings. I imagine what it would be like to live in this town or this house or that house. But if that possibility were to show up in my life today, I'm not ready.
Mm,
And so here the alignment,
yeah.
for me, or the misalignment for me are my day-to-day actions more than just creating a vision of the future. Am I
Right.
doing anything towards
Yeah.
that goal, towards that dream? Am I ready?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a
And
great.
I
So,
think
Laurel,
about that a
before you,
lot.
I know, and before you move away from that, because I feel like concrete examples are really important in this, right? For people to understand the dynamics of what we're talking about. So, for instance, if you said to yourself, if you woke up tomorrow and you were like, I'm out of here. I don't know how I'm going to get out of here, but I'm out of here. I am done living in this house. I am moving this ball forward and I'm going to get Ken on board and this is what we're going to do, right? Suddenly, time to get the things done, right? Clear out the house, purge things, make sure the house is ready for sale. Start looking seriously, right? Looking at what's our budget, right? Get clear. This is how much we're going to spend on a house. This is what we're going. Like there are all the things that almost demonstrate to the universe. Now I'm committed to this process.
That's right. That's right. And right now the universe sees my 2,400 square foot basement full of boxes and stuff, some of which hasn't been open for 20 years. And the universe is like, Laurel, are you ready? So
Yeah,
that's the thing of
yeah,
when we have this vision, when we want to manifest, it's so tempting just to want something to show up in your life and to be handed to you.
yeah, yeah.
But how does the universe know that
You're
that's what
ready.
we really want
Yeah.
if we are not demonstrating our desire through action?
Yeah, yeah, that's great. And I would say, so let's nut it down a little bit. I have felt like I had three items to me that were really important in terms of the how-to part, right? So one of the things is the alignment, right?
Yes.
If you say inside, I want my life to look like this, right? Then we start the beginning process of aligning your actions with that, right? So you have the inner alignment. This is what I want. And you keep working towards it. And you might find, oh, wait a minute. One day you wake up and go, oh, I'm afraid of having that because if I have that, I'm afraid these things could happen. And I don't know if I really want that, right? So it's like a clearing. It's the opportunity. The alignment is the clearing away the things that are not in alignment so that you are ready to boom, go forth. You already you're already there in your being. You just have to step into it in the world, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And alignment, if you remember our conversation, my conversation with Michaela, I think that episode was January.
Yes.
When I use the word inner work, she uses the word alignment.
Yeah. Right.
Right. And in her creating this life that she's dreamt about, being a full-time artist and not working for anyone else. And she is now living that, she manifested that by really focusing on, was she in alignment?
Yeah.
So I love that you're bringing that as a number one to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And to think of alignment not as a one-step process. Oh, I just have to align up here. It is a multi-tiered, multi-level experience of a clearing. Think of it as more like a clearing, right? The alignment is the clearing away of all the pushes and pulls and things that keep you, right, distracted almost from moving towards what you want. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So the second thing is boundaries. I have clients who want something, and we can start to suggest, right, ways of going about that. And also the things that are important, right, for you to say yes and no to in order to be able to step into the thing that you want, right? And that is so much about boundaries, right? If you say that you want, let's say you want a new job and you really want to change careers. You're like, I don't want to work in this field anymore. I'm just unhappy with it. I just don't want to do it anymore. The boundary part is now, I have to commit to letting go of this career, right? I have to start saying no to how I've defined myself as a worker in the world, whatever that is. And now I have to start redefining myself in different kinds of ways. The saying no part is oftentimes the thing that gets people tripped up.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
But we have to act. We have to be the person we want to be in the future. We have to be that person now.
Yeah.
And the boundaries are really important.
They are.
Living those boundaries that our future self will have.
Yeah. Yeah. I know, let's use this as an example because I feel like the boundary thing can sometimes be really almost elusive to people, and it really can be very concrete. I mean, a boundary is a yes and a no. It's simply what you say yes to is one boundary, and what you say no to is another, and it starts to literally make the boundaries around your experience of life. It forms the picture of your life, so to speak. So let's use gratitude as an example for almost a contrasty boundary experience, right? If you are constantly living in a sense of complaining about what is happening in your life right now, what you're doing is reaffirming the limitations around it and reaffirming your participation in that, right? And describing it to yourself over and over and over again. If you were to say, I know I want to change careers. I don't like that job. I don't like the culture I'm in. Boom, that's it. time to move on. And now you start saying, what do I have in my life that's really working and really good? And what do I want more of? And stop looking at the limitations and start looking at the abundance that's here. What happens is you start shifting your energy to what is not there, to what is there. And that's a great example of some of the elusive, kind of more emotional inner state work that truly impacts your experience. And a lot of people don't want to take responsibility for that part.
Yes. And it is true that saying that that what we focus on,
Grows.
we attract or we have more of, right? It grows. Yep. What we focus on grows. And so it's true. If we are focused on what we don't like and what we don't want, whether it's just our attention to that grows, or whether it's the amount of time and energy and thought that we're giving it grows. But I really do believe that completely blocks us, to be open. It blocks our ability to be open to the goodness that is all around us.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the energy of that goodness and abundance, when we start focusing on that abundance, that will grow.
Yes, yes. And I've seen that demonstrated again and again and again with clients, with myself, with people that I love. It works. It happens. It cannot not happen. It changes your inner state. It literally changes the way you vibrate and show up in the world. And so if you listen to our conversation today and you have no other thing that you can walk away with and say, what can I change? Just start a gratitude practice.
Yeah. And we have a really good episode on what a gratitude practice looks like and what it is.
Yeah.
Right. So we can put that in the show notes.
Yeah.
And what's your third thing, Laurel?
Yeah. My third thing, and this will wrap it up, is so important. And it's probably one of the more complicated ones in terms of getting to the truth of the matter, shall we say. And that is finding out what we really believe in our subconscious, not just in our conscious mind. Like we can say, I believe in the field of infinite possibilities, right? But then we go to bed every night and we're scared and we worry and we think that bad things are going to happen in the world and we don't trust anything. And we, that's where we're consumed with. It's like, well, that's not a reflection of believing in the world of unlimited possibility, right? It's like, okay, well, how about if you'd focus on anything's possible and everything is organizing for us to be better and evolve into a greater species and there's so many other possibilities of belief around that. And so to be able to start to really dig a little deeper with yourself, do I really believe this? Do I really believe this is possible? Do I really believe in good things for me? Do I really believe I deserve it? Do I really believe I want it? Do I really believe, coming from my background, anything's possible? I don't know, but in order to break down the limiting beliefs that are in there, right? We can feel, usually we can end up feeling at some level the resistance. It shows up somehow, whether it's in our dream lives. I mean, everybody's, configured differently, so it's going to show up differently for everybody. But somehow this idea of truly believing anything is possible, feeling that belief, this feeling anything is possible is such a expansive, high vibe, huge inspirational state, right? And if you're not in that state and you're thinking, oh, I don't know, not for me. I mean, you can see it doesn't line up.
Right. Yeah. And one of the best practices I have found when we find ourselves in a place where our belief is wobbly, right, where it's not solid, I tend to think about doing that inventory of interference. What I want to believe this. I want to live in a world of infinite possibility for me. Mm-hmm. And what's getting in the way of that? What am I listening to? What am I consuming? And you've heard me say this before.
Good,
my consumption is what I'm seeing, hearing, eating, drinking. Right? What am I letting in to my body or my energy field, right? And so when I start to realize, oh, it might be me getting caught up with the latest headlines that's interfering with my belief in infinite possibilities. Well,
Yeah.
we've got to get rid of the interference, right?
Yeah.
Is it yes. So just doing that inventory is really important, because if nothing else, getting rid of the interference will put you back in a situation, into a place of flow and ease,
Yeah. Yeah. That's
right?
great.
By raising your vibe, by raising your energy or shifting your energy, it makes focusing on the abundance so much easier
Yeah. Yeah.
when you start getting rid of the interference.
Yeah. Yeah. This is so complicated. Again, I want to finish with that. I'm like, everybody wants to be so simple and so quick and so easy and I'm like, wait a minute, like we are
Yeah.
complex equations over here, and
Yes.
how beautiful is that? It's a
Yeah.
beautiful thing, right?
Yes, it is.
So,
And like you said, it's not just one and done. This is
yeah,
a this is it's
yeah,
complicated, and it takes practice and
yeah.
intention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And a tribe, like being with people that are going to hold your vision for you and be honest with you about, wow, like, Laurel, I keep hearing you say you want this, but I don't know. Do you? I don't really see that you're doing anything, right? Like, I want to hear that from somebody. If that's what they're seeing from me, like that's what I need to hear, because I might not be able to see it, right?
Yes.
That's part of the complication of it all. So, well, Laurel, we had an honest conversation about manifestation, as we said we would. I hope that it helped some people out there. I hope it helped you recognize that your dreams still are so worthy, even though it's complicated. And I hope we inspired you to just start your process, start
Yes.
your dreaming and get going, and start clearing your way so that you can bring forth all that you want. Each one of us that makes a beautiful life makes the world more beautiful. So yeah,
That
let's
is the
do it.
truth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank you. It was so nice to be back with you, Laurel.
So good to be back together, Laurel. All right, away we go. More to come on Beautiful Work, Beautiful Life. For now, we want you to go out there and manifest your dreams. Bye for
Bye-bye.
now.